Hi, I'm Rebecca from Ruth Designs. Today I want to show you some great tips for working with rickrack. So I'm going to use my pattern Smock Monsters, which is an apron for children, and it uses either bias tape or rickrack. You can do either one, and this is one that I finished everything but the pockets. It also extends the rickrack, making buttonholes. Rickrack comes in 3 sizes. This is called baby rickrack, this is regular rickrack, and this is jumbo rickrack. For our purposes, and the easiest one to work with, we're going to work with the regular rickrack. It's 1/2 inch wide, and so to sew down the center, we're going to use a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to put a orangey red rickrack on our peachy color apron using a contrast trim, and then I'm going to work with a red thread so that you can see the thread. Normally you use the thread the color of your fabric. That's a rule of thumb with rickrack. Set up your rickrack right along the cut edge of your apron. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail before you start, and then put down your presser foot and set up the first couple inches with your rickrack right along the edge, and then you can start sewing, paying attention to the edge and your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Set up a couple inches, go ahead and stitch. Nice and easy right down the center. Adjust. There we go. Now my machine has a button where I can stop. I can set it to stop with the needle down. That is really useful because it helps hold it in place as well as the pressure foot. Now if you don't have that on your machine, it's okay, because you can just manually, when you stop, turn the wheel and leave the needle down. Then you can adjust. Now when we get to something like this sharper curve, we're going to use another technique. This is a larger curve. We're going to go and we're stopping with our needle down at any one of these valleys. Let's stop right here at this valley. So we're going to stitch, stop there with the needle down. I'm going to raise the presser foot, adjust my rickrack, turning that over, and I'm going to stop at my next valley right up there. There we go. Raise my presser foot again, adjust the next one, stitch to my next valley. There we go. Up we go, adjust the next set, the next little section. One more time. Here we go. And a nice easy curve. You can just do each as it goes. So now we're coming up to the corner. A corner is a specific issue, and there are different ways to deal with it. We need to stop at a valley here, so this is a good logical place to stop. So just aim right for that valley. Stop right there, then lift up your presser foot, turn your apron and rickrack, and then you're just going to take the rickrack and pull it over around the corner. I'm going to use the point of my scissors to shove the point of the rickrack over so that it'll lay down nice and flat across the corner. And here we go, starting to stitch along the side. Then the same technique that we did before. Put a couple inches of rickrack along the edge, stitch along the center, paying attention to your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Set up a couple inches, stitch, stop with your needle down, set up a couple inches, and continue. So I'm just going to continue sewing this and doing the same thing again at this corner until I get the rickrack on. Then I'll be back and we'll do our next step. So as I start the second piece that goes across the shoulders and the neck, following the directions in the pattern, I'm going to leave a tail because this is what's going to come folded back up and make my buttonholes. So on this one, I'm going to just fold this rickrack to the back, put it under, leaving my tail, and start again to finish this top side. I'm going to get to another corner and do the same technique, stopping and pulling it around, and finish the top and leave a second tail at the other side. So take your apron to your ironing board and lay it out right side up, and then turn the rickrack to the wrong side. It's going to turn easily because you've got the row of stitching, so it'll break there, just logically break there. So turn to the wrong side, press it, and just go around your apron that way. Very simple, very simple. Turn it to the wrong side, press, and at the corner do one side and then the other. Make your nice square corner and continue. Now that your apron is all pressed, the rickrack's all pressed to the back, now you're going to put it under your machine again from the top side, and you're going to top stitch. It's a scant quarter from the rickrack because we want to catch all the tips on the back side. And because we're stitching just on the fabric, that's why you always use thread that's the same color as your fabric, not as your rickrack. So when you're top stitching from the right side, you're going to stitch a scant 1/4 inch. And a good way to see that is that here's my 1/4 inch seam, and I'm looking at that just on the outside, just on the outside of this rickrack valleys. And that makes sure that you're not going off of the tips. We want to catch all the tips on the back side. So that's a good indicator of where you are. So we're just slowly stitching around, nice and careful. Slow is often faster because then you're not making mistakes and taking them out. So just a nice steady chugging is better than racing along, going for speed. As I start speeding up here. I want to show you what we're looking for. See on this side, on the back side with my contrast thread, you're going to see these 2 rows of stitches. One that goes down the center of my rickrack, and then one that catches all the tips. And that will hold it securely. It'll hold the raw edge securely. And that's how we finish the apron. Thanks for joining me. I'm glad you were here. This is Rebecca from Rebecca Ruth Designs.